Oh, right, yeah, the next part of this. Let's go.
You're not really buying or selling anything. You're making a bet on the price of something going up or down. If the bet fails, you can write off the cost of the bet. If your bet wins, you can sell.
It's funny, spoof. There's a game in the UK, like an old pub game, where you have like 3 coins in your pocket, they have 3 coins in your pocket, in their pocket. You each put your hand in, select whatever amount. So say you have 2, they don't have any, or they have 1 or whatever. And then you have to guess who's got the most, like guess what each of you has got. So if you know you've got 2, obviously you're going to say higher than 2, but they might have none, or they might have 3. So it's like, but that's spoof. So you pull out closed hand of, yeah, however many coins, and then guess on what it is, which is kind of interesting, that game idea with what they're talking about with this spoof.
What you bet on. Long-Term Capital Management, or LTCM, was founded in 1994 as a hedge fund. LTCM relied on the mathematics of 2 Nobel Prize-winning economists to determine the value of derivatives. In the first 3 years of operations, LTCM produced an annualized return of 21%, 43%, and 41%. It's no wonder that Wall Street threw money at LTCM. But there was something that the mathematical model didn't account for: system failure. The 1997 Asian financial crisis and the 1998 Russian financial collapse proved fatal to LTCM. In less than 4 months, the firm lost $4.6 billion and closed. The global financial system came within hours of collapse. Losses were socialized through a Federal Reserve bailout. Never learning from its own mistakes, Wall Street wanted more money to play with. That money would come from your pension funds and savings. Bill Clinton repealed the Glass-Steagall Act in 1999. Passed in 1933, the act separated investment banking from commercial banking, which was designed to prevent a recurrence of a speculation bubble that caused the 1929 crash to begin with. With this restriction gone, and with Greenspan lowering interest rates in the wake of the LTCM loss, bankers came up with schemes undreamed of. Money piled into tech firms with no viable business plans and dismal profit-to-earning ratios, all because they had cool domain names and were going to be part of the new economy. Firms like WorldCom and Enron made vast amounts of money in the communications and utilities markets with futures and options contracts through criminal market manipulation, massive accounting fraud, and political connections.
We want you guys to get a little creative,
Okay.
and come up with a reason to go down. Just call them, hey guys, finish our queue after coming down.
Okay, so we're just coming down for some maintenance, like a forced outage type thing.
Right.
And that's cool.
Hopefully.
We're just making money hand over fist. Leave us alone. Let us make a little bit of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, California. I'm bringing all my power out of the state. Today I moved out over 600 megawatts.
Oh, I told you they were all crooks. I just didn't know how much.
As far as I'm concerned, nothing happened in Enron that Ken Lay didn't blast.
The stock market crash of fall 2001, caused partially by the effects of 9/11 and mostly by the collapse of firms like Enron, sowed the seeds for the financial crash of fall 2008. In a desperate move to keep the money flowing through Wall Street, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan kept cutting interest rates until they were at historic lows. Cheap money flowed back into Wall Street at record levels, especially to buy a whole new range of investments called derivatives. There is a thin line between options contracts and bets. When you make a bet on a sports game, you've invested in a derivative. No matter what the outcome of the game, your bet never entitles you to any revenue from any ownership of either team or anything associated with either team. The value of your bet is derived from the performance of the underlying assets or teams involved in that game. Now imagine what would happen to the world of sports betting if you could take out insurance against losing bets. Welcome to the world of derivatives. The one thing that prevents bankers from loaning out nearly unlimited amounts of money is risk. There has always been a risk that borrowers will default on their loans, potentially causing losses for the lender. If the risk of default could be separated from an investment, then there's nearly no limit to what might be invested. This is exactly the idea that a team of young financial geniuses came up with by the pool of a five-star resort during a banker's retreat in the mid-1990s. We have only enough time here to describe the most popular types of derivatives. Their definitions are being displayed now if you would like more detail. The key point to remember is that derivatives are pools of leveraged debt which can be repackaged, recombined, and resold many times over, with banking fees to be made every step of the way.
June 22 is the date of this email. Boy, that Timberwolf was one deal. How much of that deal did you sell to your clients after June 22, 2007?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know the answer to that, but the price would have reflected levels that they wanted to invest.
Oh, of course,
at that time.
but they don't know it's a. You didn't tell them you thought it was a deal.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, who did? Your people internally. You knew it was a deal, and that's what your email shows.
I think the context, the message that I took from the email from Mr. Montag was that my performance on that deal wasn't good.
How about the fact that you sold hundreds of millions of that deal after your people knew it was a deal? Does that bother you at all? You sold to customers something?
I don't recall selling hundreds of millions of that deal after that.
The focal point in the derivatives disaster.
I have to say, I really like that, because that's like the Congress, Senate hearings. I really like America does that. And we have like the Houses of Parliament, but you don't get things like that in our country, where they actually grill people and put people on the spot and pull people to, like, it's the same as the debating. It's much better to watch American debates, even uneducated Americans versus British educated people, because our thing seems to be, it seems to be like kind of toffee jokes, like, because it's the Right Honourable. They'll say, oh, I will pass the floor to the Right Honourable Murray. And he gets up and goes, I say that the Right Honourable, my Right Honourable opponent, is neither right nor honourable. And then everyone goes, ha, 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 ha. And then that's kind of it. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of how the debates go. Like, it's, but Americans, at least you actually get them to sit them down and actually grill them.
The completely fraudulent mortgage market. Corrupt mortgage institutions offered unrealistic teaser rates written into contracts that borrowers didn't understand.
When you heard that your employees in these emails, when looking at these deals, said, what a deal, what a piece of when you hear your own employees or read about those in the emails, do you feel anything?
I think that's very unfortunate to have on email.
Are you embarrassed?
And very unfortunate. I don't.
On
again,
email,
please don't take that.
How
the wrong
about
way.
feeling that way?
I think it's very unfortunate for anyone to have said that.
People applying for mortgages were told to lie about their incomes. Ratings agencies gave whatever credit rating on pools of mortgages that banks were willing to pay for.
People lost money in it, but the security itself delivered the specific exposure that the client wanted to have.
You don't believe it's relevant to a customer of yours that you are selling a security to, that you are betting against that same security. You just don't think it's relevant and needs to be disclosed. Is that the bottom line?
Yes, and the people who are selling it in our firm wouldn't even know what the firm's position is.
You are betting against the very product you are selling, and you're just not troubled by it.
I'm sorry, I can't endorse your
Yeah, and that's true, that the people that work for them that are selling it wouldn't know what the overall idea behind it is, but they will still get told. There would have been a thing go out that say, get rid of this. Even if they don't know the reason behind it, that would have been their job.
In all this insanity, the debt and risk to the entire financial system itself kept piling up until the House of Cards finally collapsed in 2008. All this is your problem. There is now no separation of interests between the controlled central bank of a nation, the large investment banks of that nation, its main stock exchanges, its largest businesses, the government which supports them, and the military power which backs the government. At the top, your government doesn't work for you. It works for this collusion of interests who will threaten government with social anarchy by bringing down their own house unless it gets a steady stream of tax dollars to continue making money from expanding debt.
Many of us were told in private conversations that if we voted against this bill on Monday, that the sky would fall, the market would drop 2,000 or 3,000 points the first day, another couple thousand the second day, and a few members were even told that there would be martial law in America if we voted no.
So I'm asking you if your agency has, in fact, according to Bloomberg, extended $9 trillion in credit, which, by the way, works out to $30,000 for every single man, woman, and child in this country. I'd like to know, if you're not responsible for investigating that, who is?
No, we have responsibility for the Federal Reserve's programs and operations, audits, to conduct audits and investigations in that area. In terms of who's responsible for investigating, would you mind repeating the question one more time?
What have you done to investigate the off-balance sheet transactions conducted by the Federal Reserve, which, according to Bloomberg, now total $9 trillion in the last 8 months?
I'll have to look specifically at that Bloomberg article. I'm not, I don't know if I have actually seen that particular one.
I am shocked to find out that nobody at the Federal Reserve, including the Inspector General, is keeping track of this. So who got the money?
To financial institutions in Europe and other countries.
Which ones?
I don't know.
$500 billion, and you don't know who got the money?
The loan went to the loans go to the central banks, and they then put them out to their institutions to try to bring down short-term interest rates in dollar markets around the world.
We actually looked at one of the arrangements, and one of the arrangements is $9 billion for New Zealand. That works out to $3,000 for every single person who lives in New Zealand. Seriously, wouldn't it be better to extend that kind of credit to Americans rather than New Zealanders?
It's not costing Americans anything. We're getting interest back, and it comes back. It's not at the cost of any American credit. We are extending credit to Americans.
The very next page has the U.S. dollar nominal exchange rate, which shows a 20% increase in the U.S. dollar nominal exchange rate at exactly the same time that you were handing out $500 billion to foreigners. Do you think that's a coincidence?
Yes.
America's Attorney General, Eric Holder, said that prosecuting megabanks presents a risk to the national and global economy.
I am concerned that the size of some of these institutions becomes so large that it does become difficult for us to prosecute them when we are hit with indications that if you do prosecute, if you do bring a criminal charge, It will have a negative impact on the national economy, perhaps even the world economy. And I think that is a function of the fact that some of these institutions have become too large.
The rich are now holding more productive assets than ever, while the people are holding more debt than ever, thinking that they're rich.
And I found a job in my hometown of Irvine at JP Morgan Chase. It pays $16.50 an hour. Now this bank teller, her name is Patricia. She has one child who's 6 years old. She claims the one dependent after tax. She has $29,100. She had $2,425 a month. She rents a one-bedroom apartment. She and her daughter sleep together in the same room. In Irvine, California, that average one-bedroom apartment is going to be $1,600.
You can get those jobs at a high school, and she may have my job one day. So
She may, but Mr. Diamond, she doesn't have the ability right now to spend your $31 million.
I'm totally sympathetic.
She's short 567. What would you suggest she do?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Would you recommend that she take out a JP Morgan Chase credit card and run a deficit?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Would you recommend that she overdraft at your bank and be charged overdraft fees?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Since the decoupling of the American dollar from gold in 1971, Western economies have shifted from capitalism.
It's amazing they can really think about doing evil shit and taking people's money and, do you know what I mean? But they haven't actually given a thought to, the average person who's, do you know what I mean? Going to work, doing everything you should do, but can't even afford nothing. Like, it's like, what's the point?
To crony capitalism, to extractionism. Not only are the bankers who have been responsible for creating the current crisis not going to jail, they are assisting governments in making policies which favor them. Governments don't rule the world. Goldman Sachs rules the world.
For most traders, it's not about we don't really care that much how they're going to fix the economy, how they're going to fix the whole situation. Our job is to make money from it. And personally, I've been dreaming of this moment for 3 years. I have a confession, which is I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. I dream of another moment like this. Why? Because people don't seem to maybe remember, but the 30s depression, the depression in the 30s, wasn't just about a market crash. There were some people who were prepared to make money from that crash. And I think anybody can do that. It isn't just for some people in the elite. Anybody can actually make money. It's an opportunity. When the market crashes, when the euro and the big stock markets crash, if you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this. This economic crisis is like a cancer. If you just wait and wait thinking this is going to go away, just like a cancer, it's going to grow and it's going to be too. What I would say to everybody is get prepared. This is not a time right now to wishful thinking the government is going to sort things out. The governments don't. Goldman Sachs rules the world. Goldman Sachs does not care about this rescue package, neither does the big funds. So actually, what I would actually tell people, I want to help people. People can make money from this. It isn't just traders. What they need to do is learn about how to make money from a downward market. The first thing people should do is protect their assets, protect what they have. Because in less than 12 months, my prediction is the savings of millions of people is going to vanish. And this is just the beginning.
Banks are now so powerful that billions worth of bank debt are transferred to the taxpayers of nations that the bankers think will simply buckle under and pay.
When I come from the airport with a taxi driver, they are often very well informed, I must say, very well informed.
Klaus Manusch, did your taxi driver tell you how the Irish people are bewildered that we are required to pay unguaranteed bondholders billions of euros for debts that the Irish people have no relation to or no bearing with, primarily to bail out or to ensure the solvency of European banks?
I have answered a very similar question of you. I think it was 2 reviews ago.
You addressed the question. You addressed the questions previously.
I addressed the question.
Yes.
I answered it. I would say I can understand that this is a difficult decision to be made by the government, and there's no doubt about it. But there are different aspects of the problem to be balanced against each other, and I can understand that the government came to the view that all in all the costs for the Irish people, for the stability of the banking system, for the confidence in the banking system of taking certain action in this respect, which you were mentioning, could likely have been much bigger than the benefits for the taxpayer, which of course would have been there. So the financial sector would have been affected, the confidence of the financial sector would have been negatively affected, and I can understand that there was a difficult decision, but that the decision was taken in this direction.
Yeah, that doesn't address the issue. We are required to pay in respect of a defunct bank. There's no bearing on the welfare of the Irish people at all. We're required to pay in respect of this defunct bank billions on unguaranteed bonds in order to ensure the health of European banks. Now, what would you explain, how would you explain that situation to the taxi driver that you talked about earlier?
I think I have addressed the question.
No, you haven't addressed the question because you've referred to the viability of the Irish financial institutions. This financial institution I'm talking about is defunct. It's over, it's finished. Now, why are the Irish people required, under threat from the ECB, why are the Irish people required to pay billions to unguaranteed bondholders under threat to the ECB? You didn't answer the question the last time, so maybe you'd answer it this time.
Well, I think it's the smile in their faces as well. But this is the thing. This is why I have respect for Justin Trudeau, because at least he openly admits that he wants Canada to join into the global thing. Everyone else is just lying to their people. That's what these people don't really want to say to you. When you're saying to them, well, what about we're paying off a debt that in no way is caused nor benefits the Irish people. What they really want to say to you, the answer that they want to give you is there's no such thing as the Irish people anymore. There's no such thing as Ireland. You're a primitive little racist. And quite frankly, you can go away and just pay off the debt and take it. And obviously you see in Ireland right now, they ain't taking it.
Doesn't have anything to add to what he's already said. Sorry,
just a minute. This isn't good.
It's the smile. It's the
No
smile.
matter what some may call gold.
There's a video. I'll find it again and do a thing on it. But a woman basically, BBC filming migrants in the park, and like interviewing migrants and things. And some woman walks past and says, we're like trying to keep this park safe from these people, like that young girls and that can come in, and then you come in and you just bring them all in here and film them, and like you're making everywhere unsafe with it. And the BBC people just like this smug smile. And there's a Louise Phillips, I might have got her name wrong, so I apologise. I only watched one thing of her. But she says this is not a battle of immigrants versus natives. It's not a battle of... It's like this is the age-old English battle or UK battle of working class versus upper class. That the reason the grooming gangs and all these things have gone unanswered is because they're being done to white working class women and white working class young girls, and the elite can't stand us. They don't like us. They don't care. Like they think we are lesser than them, and it's like that's where there hasn't been an answer to it, and they just think that you're our silly little commoner. And it's like, well, you're gonna see what happens with silly little commoners, because we are on the edge of glory. Let's go.
The world has always been on a de facto gold standard. Economist John Exter developed Exter's Pyramid, which shows that the entire economy still rests on gold only because gold has no counterparty risk. A famous banker said it best in 1966. In the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value. If there were, the government would have to make its holding illegal, as was done in the case of gold. The financial policy of the welfare state requires that there be no way for the owners of wealth to protect themselves. The famous banker who said this was Alan Greenspan. His successor, Ben Bernanke, could never publicly acknowledge that gold and silver were money.
Do you think gold is money?
No.
It's not money.
It's
Even if
a
it had
precious
been money
metal.
for 6,000 years, somebody reversed that and eliminated that economic law.
Well, it's an asset. I mean, it's the same. Would you say Treasury bills are money? I don't think they're money
Why
either,
do-
but they're
why
a
do-
financial
Why do
asset.
central banks hold it?
Well,
If
it's a
not
form of
money?
reserves. It's a
Why
form
don't
of-
they hold diamonds?
Well, it's tradition, long-term tradition.
You know, some people still think it's money.
Gold and silver have always acted as a warning bell against bankers issuing more currency. This is why bankers try so hard to keep the price of precious metals down. It is theoretically true that currency doesn't have to be backed by gold and silver. In reality, it is no smarter to leave the money supply in the hands of politicians than it is in the hands of bankers.
Yeah, do you know, and this is the type of thing that people should actually be spending their time researching and looking into. Now, I love other conspiracies. I love aliens. I love, is the moon landing fake? I love, is the earth flat? They're all very, very fun. They're fun exercises to run around in your brain. However, this type of thing is the true conspiracy. All the others, like I say, they're very, very fun, but like you watch it and you don't get angry. You don't get angry watching about aliens and things like that. But you watch this and you just see these people, and it's the contempt that these people have for everybody else, basically. And it's like there's so few of them. And that's why I do think they are seriously worried. Like in our country, I do think that the government is seriously worried about the mood of the country. And they should be. As should America. Well, America's a bit different because you've got Trump. And as much as people don't like Trump, it's clear he is not part of this, these people's club. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you're going to lose Trump. And even someone like J.D. Vance, I think Nick Fuentes is right. Like J.D. Vance hangs out, like he's old friends with the British politicians and what's his name, Lammy. They're all like best friends, holiday together and all these sort of things. It's what Nick Fuentes said about J.D. Vance. The Trump picking J.D. Vance was a betrayal to what he is, and anti that all of that group. J.D. Vance is one of that group. And that's the thing. I do think Trump is a different beast altogether than these people, but it's only going to last so long, and you're going to be back in the hands of who it's always been in the hands of. But our country is going to be, I think, a people overthrow. Or, in fact, I just think it's that. I think they have such contempt for the people that they're not going to listen and not going to do anything. And, yeah. But yeah, that's the video, sweet.